Happy Memorial Day to each and every one of you guys out there. And this is actually the Daily Shout Out Memorial Day special for social media shows. Welcome to all of you guys who are out there doing their own thing for this special day, remembering our fallen soldiers. And we have different veterans guests for today. Let's start with Joseph Skoda. Joseph Skoda is a founder of GI Connections, a veteran helping other veterans transitioning to the civilian life, and he is the commander of American Legion Post 56 and Disabled American Veterans Chapter 82. He is also a member of Santa Maria Valley Honor Guard and he is a public speaker. He has retired from the United States Air Force after 21 years in service and has recently been elected as Toastmaster District Director. He is actively involved in his community and helps veterans and their families find new purposes in their lives. He is also a co-founder of social media shows. Please help me welcome a U.S. Air Force veteran, Mr. Joseph Skoda.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning from Pismo Beach, California. It's really good fly here today.
We need the
Really, I'm even from Ohio State, Buckeye Heart, because that's where my roots are. I live out there. And this morning, I was in a Memorial Day ceremony. We have the family cemetery. I'm part of the card and have been for many years. Holding the American flag. The important thing about today is we remember those that can no longer wear the uniform, the uniform. Those that died so we can have some freedoms that we have today to come up on through and do whatever we want to do. Talk about what we want to talk about. Act foolish, act foolish. Have pride if we want to have pride. Pray where we want to pray. And this day is really important because of those that died before us, as all that you know, and we were so thankful to wear a uniform, but thankfully we made it out alive. So I want to thank you very much for having me on the show, and I'm proud to serve, continue serving. Out here at GI Connection, and serving veterans. That's what we do.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, I'm gonna talk again. All right, our next guest is he is currently serving with the U.S. Marine Corps. He is halfway through his 4-year contract. He is an E4, also known as a CPL or an NCO. He served as an artilleryman, acting A chief of an M777A2 howitzer. He is 22 years old and currently stationed in Hawaii. Please welcome Brandon Jose Franco.
Oh, hello everybody. So, yeah, basically she hit it on the nail. It's it's 1:30 here. So, I currently are artillery. They have M777 howitzer. That's basically a big cannon. They're the ones that aren't like known to it. I'm halfway through the contract. I'm just here stationed in Hawaii. Yeah.
Thank, thank you, Brandon.
Okay, turn it off again.
Yes. Our next guest. Okay, let me just. Brandon just joined us, so let me just do some adjustment here really quick, so that we can show everybody's faces. I'm sorry, guys. I am actually one-handed woman here on the studio, so I'm just trying to make sure everybody's faces showed up in the camera. Where was the other one? I forgot what number is that. Is right there. Probably this one. Yes, that's the one. Alrighty, and then our next guest for today, Joe, is Vanessa there with you?
He's right here.
All right. Well, our next guest is a U.S. Air Force veteran and currently the Director of Equal Opportunity in Nellis Air Force Base. Please welcome Vanessa Phelps.
Thank you very much. I have served 21 years active duty, and I still work for the Department of Defense. I'm actually not at Nellis, although I wish that I was. My last tour of duty, active duty, was at Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, Nevada. I currently live in Lone Coast, California, and I'm a civilian, the Director of Equal Opportunity at Vandenberg Air Force Base, which is part of the Space Force. So I'm very proud to be a member of the Air Force still, as well as a civilian employee and a veteran. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vanessa, and thank you for joining us today. And our next guest is they are both veterans. They are previous U.S. Army. They are U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force veteran. I apologize about that. I'm so sorry. And they are the founder. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find that. There you go. Sorry. Former service member who served in the United States Air Force. She was awarded an accommodation medal for her role in Operation Enduring Freedom from Nellis Air Force Base. You might know each other, huh? 820th Red Horse Squadron, directly following the 9/11 terror attacks. Miss Kelley Guidry. Correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
No, you pronounced it right. It's just you have such an echo.
I know somebody's wasn't probably this one. Yeah, I apologize about that. Some technical difficulties came up right after we started.
No, okay, you pronounced it correctly.
Is Mr. Guidry with you?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi everyone, I'm Peter.
He is Miss. Put it down.
Okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Guidry are the founder of Forgotten Not Gone, a nonprofit organization proactive in veteran suicide prevention here in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Last but not the least, our next guest is a very talented woman that wears many hats. She is an ordained minister, an international speaker, an award-winning best-selling author, and an award-winning filmmaker. She is also an awareness advocate and educator in the area of domestic violence and self-trafficking. And she is an Army veteran. Please help me welcome Miss Tamia Dow.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
I know we got this echo going on, so I know it seems to me when listening that it's hard to hear. But
Yeah.
I want to say hello to Kelly because I've met Kelly before at the 22 Warrior events that they have. So hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and I'm also part of the
Don't show me.
UNLV Rebel Vet Club. I'm one of the board members. We just got through or should we say 2 weeks ago, celebrating Willie Suarez, which is one of our local Vegas veterans that is battling cancer. We put together a whole caravan of about 100 people. What should I say, 100 vehicles? That's anywhere from 200 to 300 people because multiple people came. And we just did a car parade to encourage people that it's not alone in this battle and this struggle. and we laid flags. So our veterans are not going to leave it empty, you know. I mean, so we went out there and took care of business. So that's just some of the things that I'm happy to be a part of out here, and I know Kelly and her husband are big supporters of what's happening out here in Vegas too.
We've reached the age of live streaming on social media shows. We present our show programmings, which demonstrate inspirations to any viewers around the globe,
with over 500,000 reached to over 54 countries.
Our programming are very relatively entertaining and empowering. And now here is the Let's Talk World. Let's Talk World, hosted by young, witty, and fearless leader of social media shows, Maria Pureza. This programming is all about featuring individuals in their field of interest. We showcase everyone's passion.
You can be empowered with Maria and Joe Live TV, a show that will inspires you. Maria and Joe will share real-time stories and deliberate cynical perspective in a positive culture. Join and watch us on socialmediashows.com.
In the Office is a show about words of wisdom that relates to everyday circumstances in life. Watch life coach Joseph Skoda every Wednesday 11 a.m. on social media shows.
Fab Life is about the fashion, celebrities, movies, social events, arts and culture and so much more. Hosted by JC Crisologo every Monday 7 p.m. on socialmediashows.com.
Shut up and sit down.
Jeezy and Frenemies. Jeezy and His Frenemies is an impromptu comedy skit with a hilarious story of a billionaire designer with other billionaire friends. Socialmediashows.com with evolving characters and actors.
Honey Bees, Women Empowerment Talk Show, hosted by powerful women. As women in our society, we have a voice. Let's talk anything that involves women. Watch us live every Tuesday 5 p.m. PST on socialmediashows.com, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, and Facebook.
Vegas Live, with Minon de Vere de Rosa, an award-winning talk show host based in the center of Las Vegas. Every Wednesday 1 p.m. on social media shows.
Featuring artists in and outside Las Vegas area.
The Good News is a weekly show on fb.me/social media shows to inspires you with the scriptures and word of God to uplift you to be a better version of yourself. Hosted by Dolores Olson and JC Crisologo on
Social media shows are looking for independent assigned artists to show off to the world for a brand new show. So if you have a video ready to show, email us right now at darkmusictelevision@gmail.com.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe on our YouTube channel, Social Media Shows.
Alright, welcome back guys, and I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties. So, I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna start with Brandon.
Oh, snap.
Brandon, you know, you're the youngest of all the military guys over here. What is the most challenging to become enlisted in the service?
Could you say it again?
What's the most challenging?
I guess being away from family, being so young, I was always around my family, and then just getting stationed in Hawaii. That's the hardest transition so far.
Where are you originally from?
California.
California. And you are in the military for 2 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, what do you think, since I asked you about the challenge, what is the most rewarding part being serving our country?
Just being a part of it. So my dad, he served as an airman. He was in the Air Force, but I went the Marine Corps route, and it's the most like rewarding feeling, like just kind of following in his footsteps, serving the country.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Anyways, guys, I know today is a Memorial Day. Do you guys have anybody of you been lost a friend? I know you do because you are all veteran. But what is, what do you remember when Memorial Day comes once a year?
I'll
Eye
answer
temperature.
just from something that I was thinking about earlier. It just reminds me, because like you said, we've all lost people, even people I feel who served and passed on and wasn't in combat. It just reminds me that freedom's not free. We pay a price, and even our families who don't serve, like the young man who said his father served. If something had to happen to his father, that's a price he would have had to pay. Everybody suffers when we lose our family members who go off and they fight for our freedom. So I just think, even though it's once a year, it's something that should be brought to the forefront, because freedom isn't free. There's a price to be paid for it, and some people lose their whole lives behind it. With our nonprofit, we see a lot of veterans that come back and they're suicidal, after experiencing certain things. And to me, I mean, that's a heavy price to pay, and maybe even more so than losing your life, because at that point you're gone. When you're here, you're still fighting through that, and your family's affected, you're affected. So, that would be the biggest thing for me.
Salute to the Gold Star mothers out there. There's a lot of Gold Star mothers that have lost their sons, and they're suffering, and we, get a chance to be around them, all the time. But a lot of these young women are still suffering, having lost their children. So we want to remember the families as well.
Yeah, the thing about Memorial Day that comes to my mind every year, and I was really very strong in saying this year with my posts and things, was that for years that passed, Memorial Day would come and people would say, oh yay, day off, right? And they'd take off and have long weekends, and never realizing the real meaning and purpose for Memorial Day. That there's people who died in service for the freedom that they enjoy to go on these long weekends and party and do all this stuff. So this year I made a big point of saying on my Facebook and social media that
Turn off na siya. 1 minute na.
Thank you about that, Tamia. And Joe?
Well, actually, that's a good point you brought that up. Part of our Memorial Day service today, we had 3 gold mothers there that lost their children. And even though my parents never served, me and my 2 brothers did, Army, Marines, and Air Force, and very proud of that. My son's in Germany right now in the Air Force, serving us there. I couldn't imagine what it'd be like to lose my own child. We're not supposed to lose our own children. And so many people before us, especially World War I, World War III, Korean War, their parents were losing their kids. And it's kind of, most Americans think they need to thank us veterans for Memorial Day. Those of us that survived, that's so far from the truth. So far from the truth. And like you mentioned earlier, I'm a psychologist, and I'm counseling people all the time. Suicide is a real thing. We got 22 to 25 active duty retirees that lose hope.
Right.
Lose hope because they don't know what they're fighting for. They don't understand even, we know what Memorial Day means, but the rest of society doesn't.
And they don't care.
And that transition, I think all of you can agree, that transition from military to civilian, that's a tough path. That's a tough path. Most of us, we hear all the time, those in Vietnam, they went back to Vietnam because they felt more appreciated, they had a purpose, they had something they were fighting for. And you coming back here, and so many of us are just floundering. I think that's the word I'm going to use. Floundering through life, trying to figure out who we are in this world. So, no, it's a big deal with us. I congratulate all of you for continuously to serve. Please serve.
We have, I'm sorry, is it Kevin?
No, Joseph?
I think it's Joe and Vanessa.
Joe and Vanessa, California.
Joe and Vanessa that are in California. Okay, so you guys are all in beautiful locations. But what I was going to add on, Joe, is what you're saying about our service members when they get out and how they end up floundering. and I think that is why we all have a heart of service. And I think Brandon, because you're our youngest one on here, that to focus on service and how you can serve someone else and what you can do. Because when we're in the service, in the military service, we have a mission and we kind of have a purpose and, all of that. And then when we get out, we have to rediscover our mission. We have to focus on service, basically, for most of us, because I know most veterans, when they don't have a focus on service, that's when we see them, Joe, floundering a bit, because they don't understand what is their purpose.
What's the mission? What's the goal?
Right.
Yep. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm not in the military, but I've been actually around a lot of veterans in my life for the past 10 years. And I feel, everybody's pain, and I've been through VA and everything. I felt like I've been adopted as veteran, actually. So I've been through all those things. And I am with Joe, my business partner, who been helping a lot of veterans out there. I know that we are talking about Memorial Day today, but I just wanna highlight a little bit of what you guys all doing, because all of you guys are, although you're veteran, except Brandon, you guys are still out there helping our community. So let's start with Tamia. Let's talk about the domestic violence and sex trafficking that you are doing in our community.
Okay, sure. So you guys know, I was in the U.S. Army, and then when I got out of the service, I went in to work for the police department here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Buddy.
All right. Okay, go ahead.
You want me to finish? Okay.
Yes.
So while I was in service with the local police department, I got my area of expertise was domestic violence. I trained in everything, but the area that I spent the most of my time in my career was as a domestic violence detective, and I dealt with victims of domestic violence, stalking, sex trafficking, and those issues that were affecting people. And it was mostly violence against women, but of course, men, women, and children are affected by all of those things that I just described to you. So when I left there, retired from Metro, I always had this desire to create film, to do film. So since I've been retired, I'm actually an international speaker. So what I did is I stepped into my creative side. So when I left the police department, I traveled around the world speaking all over the country, or all over the world, talking about the signs of domestic violence and the signs of sex trafficking, how to recognize them, and best practices in dealing with them. And because of my police background, I trained police and civilian all over the world, living in different places. And then I felt the call to become an author, so I've written, and I am a best-selling author. I've written or contributed to 15 different books over the course of 6 years now. And I am now a multiple-time award-winning, multi-hyphenate filmmaker. And what that means is not only do I write film, I act in films, I direct films, and I produce films. And I've won awards as a filmmaker in various of those categories, to include Best Female Filmmaker, which I recently won on my birthday this year in May.
And you haven't did a film on Forgotten Not Gone yet?
What'd you say?
You haven't did a film on Forgotten Not Gone yet? You've been knowing us for years?
I haven't. Did you send me the link?
You gotta take those talents off the shelf. Let's get out and make it happen.
And we have all the talents.
48-mile bike ride earlier this morning.
And we have.
We're gonna film that.
Let's connect. I gotta see that.
We have all the talents here at social media shows, Tamia. Just to let you know.
Yes.
Anyways, thank you so much for all the things that you're doing for the community. By the way, go ahead and watch one of Tamia's show. This is the We Care. Oh, what is that title of that show?
Which one?
We care. Why do I care?
Why should I care?
Why should I care? There you. I'm so sorry about that. I want to be on
that
the.
was my first. Yeah, that was my first film that won multiple awards, and now the second film that's out now is called Toxic Love, and that's starting to win awards. Oh, and the other thing I forgot to mention is, so she called me chaplain. So I am also an ordained minister, and I hold the title of a chaplain, and I have worn the chaplain hat for about 15 years. I worked with the police for a long time, and I still do work with them, but I worked with the International Police Association up until 2018, and then now I work here locally with the police and the veterans.
Thank you, Tamia. And also, yes, and also with GI Connection, or I'm gonna go with Vanessa first, Joe. Vanessa.
No problem. She's smarter than I am.
That's no doubt at all. Yes, I believe that. So Vanessa, you are, although you are a veteran, you were U.S. Air Force, and you are still working with a lot of active military people at the U.S. Nellis, or the Nellis Airport, or Nellis Air Base, sorry. Nellis Air Base as Equal Opportunity Director, correct?
Well, I'm actually not at Nellis anymore. Nellis in Las Vegas was my last active duty station. Since then, I have become a civilian, and yes, now I'm working at Vandenberg Air Force Base. It's a space base. It's known for being the U.S. Space Force now, so we have another branch of the service, believe it or not. Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, and space. So
that is so awesome. If I was a youngster, I would be in the Space Force.
Me too. Who would have thunk it? But here I am, so I'm going to go down in history as being a part of the Space Force here in California. However, when I was at Nellis, I was a critical care nurse, and I worked at the Moth. So I know very well about Red Horse and some of the trails that you're talking about. The point of me being at Nellis was I spent less time there and more time deployed. So when it comes to Memorial Day, it means that seeing people die was an everyday fact for me. Every single day as a nurse, a critical care air transport nurse, picking people up from where they fell. And there's still a war going on, by the way. People are still losing their lives today as we speak. And I think because all else is going on in the world, including the pandemic, that we forget that there's still a war going on and there's Americans dying every day. Back to the forefront, what I do at Vandenberg Air Force Base is not too much different than what the pastor does. I'm very heavily involved in ensuring that people are treated equally, and that includes that they're not sexually harassed, they're not sexually assaulted, they're not trafficked, and they're not treated differently because of their race, their color, their religion, their age, their you name it. I'm it to ensure that people are treated fairly no matter what.
Thank you for that, Vanessa. Yes, we need more people like you, because, like, it's. I have no clue, but I don't want to be. I don't want. Don't start. Don't make me start it, okay? But anyways, I don't. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I supposedly am moderator. I don't take sides here. But anyways, let's go to Mr. and Mrs. Guidry. They are actually. They have this forgotten, not gone. I really love the name of the nonprofit organization, Forgotten, Not Gone. Remember the 9/11 tragic that happens few decades ago. This is actually kind of like make me feel very emotional. So and I'm not, it's not easy to make me emotional. Okay, so let's talk about this nonprofit organization.
Um,
When did you guys started this? When you guys started the Forgotten Not Gone?
we started in November 2013. It was originally again born out of a sense of pain and desperation. My husband, I always kid and say there was only room for one person in our family to have PTSD, so I just had to get over mine real quick to help him. But I almost lost him, and we'll be married come June 12th, 22 years. And so it just amazed me that I could sleep next to this person every single night and have no idea that death, like killing himself, was an option that he was actually toying with. So when I found out, it blew my mind. And when we finally was able to get him help, we just kind of thought to ourselves, it just happened to be Velomobile recumbent bikes that kind of helped pull him out of his funk. He's a very active person, but he was living with chronic pain every single day. And so getting out and getting active wasn't as easy as it was prior to that. So he was depressed. He had high anxiety. He barely slept. He wouldn't remember to eat. You name it. And then when he would eat, his GI is torn. He was throwing up blood, losing weight. It was a bevy of just... I always use that too, Joe. I said when we got out, we floundered around for 10 years trying to find that sense of purpose, that mission. And anyway, when we found recumbent trikes, actually the VA are the ones who said it would help him with anxiety and depression and that he had severe PTSD. And I thought, it's a bike. It's a bike. But it changed his life. And at that point, I thought, every veteran should have access to this. We had 2 trikes. Now it's, 7 years later?
Yeah, 7 years.
We have over 40 different bikes. We provide them for their kids, spouses. We have, civilian support as well that ride with us. But it saved his life. It saved my life because I don't know what I would have did if I had lost him. And it also helped me, face the fact that I had tremendous amounts of PTSD. But that peer-on-peer support, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like talking to somebody who's been through what you've been through and can tell you how to get over it. That's why we wanted to do a nonprofit. There was nothing that came to our mind and said, we want to have a business and we want to do this and we want to do that. It was strictly like that, like the pastor says, we found a mission, right? And we found a way to serve again. And it gave us a purpose, and it made us want to wake up every single day. And even though we were in pain, it was something that gave us a quality of life. There was a reason to live now, and it was to help other people. And there's no greater joy than that, no matter how bad you're feeling. So we called it Forgotten Not Gone because we say we're forgotten, but we're not gone. These are people that are still here, that are trying to find their way again back in life, and they're not gone. We're just kind of forgotten. So.
Brandon, listening to all these veterans, you just starting. They're always on their finish, but I know they're not gonna end. But what do you think about listening to all of this being you starting on this journey?
It's truly an amazing thing to hear. So how they just they got out, but they didn't know what they're gonna do, and they're worried for that finding their purpose or their mission, and then they found it, and then that mission was just continue helping others. That's an overwhelming feeling just to hear about it. There's people out there that the homeless people on the streets of LA. Most of them are veterans, and they couldn't find that purpose, and they're struggling daily. And just hearing about at least some of them are finding a purpose of just helping those ones of need. That's extremely overwhelming.
Right. Joe, talking about, the homeless and, Brandon is in the military. He has 2 years or 4 years, Brandon? 4 years to go?
2 years left.
2 years left. And I know, Joe, that your nonprofit organization, GI Connection, is to helping these soldiers transition into the civilian life, what do you offer for this, for our soldiers?
Well, sure, a lot like everyone else. I retired in 2006. I had a master's degree in business, 21 years of experience, doing all kinds of things. Licensed aircraft mechanic. I became a California real estate agent. All of these things going for me. I couldn't find work. I got out of the military. There's no one in the community I live in. There's only 2 positions that had looking for MBAs. I even have a bachelor's in aviation. No one cared. I couldn't find work. And when I did, they hired me to be a director of something, a position that didn't exist. And in the meantime, they kind of put me at the bottom to learn the ropes. And this is a manufacturing shop. Now, even though I'm a licensed mechanic and all these other things, I haven't turned a wrench in 15 years. And here I am, bending over, twisted, lifting things up, driving a forklift. This ain't for me. This isn't what I need to do. So I went back to Ohio for a while, came back here. But the point is, 2 years after I retired, I checked into a homeless shelter. Because during that time, it caused hell on my marriage at the time. And quite frankly, when I left, my bank account was empty. Amazing how those things happen. So instead of spending my little bit of a retirement, and I don't know what you know there, we don't get 50% retirement. We get about a third, maybe a quarter. You no longer get a housing allowance. You no longer get a food allowance. You no longer get that deployment extra income. You live on less than half the income you did when you're in. So when you get out, make sure you're prepared. But when I had to humble myself in the shelter, meeting other veterans and people, we walk down the street, we walk on the other side of the street, we ignore what's in front of us, we avoid, just interacting with someone on the street sometimes. But it was when I had to humble myself and get to hear these stories. Other people, they lost their jobs. And a lot of people I know are 2 or 3 paychecks away from being on the streets themselves, or relationships broke up, or they got out of the military, or addictions, whatever it is. But we're all people. And getting back to that floundering, I floundered for quite a while. But I'll tell you, because of the shelter, 3 years later, I got my PhD in psychology. 3 years later, I started my own nonprofit. 3 years later, all these things happened for a reason. So regardless of our circumstances, and I think that's what we have to do as veterans, is provide hope to those coming out. And tell them, I don't care if you were a cop or a nurse or a mechanic or a pilot. That's before. What have you done lately? What are you doing today to prepare for your future? Doesn't it matter what you did yesterday? I have 5 degrees. Who cares? No one cares. No one cares I was a realtor. No one cares.
But we do, right, Joe?
We do. But the point is, I don't care how big the missile you have on the back of a truck and shoot out of the ground and all how it's certain. I don't care. No one cares when you leave the military. You become a number. Yeah. You become a number when you leave the military. Make sure that number means something. Make sure people don't forget you. And we cannot live our life on what we did before. Yeah. We cannot live our life on past successes or even failures. Every day is a new day. We have to almost reinvent ourselves. And that's what I provide to other people is the counseling, the resource. I help people fill out disability claims. I've been doing that for a long time, and that's huge. And helping people, if you want to start a business, you want to go to school, you want to just find a purpose by serving others, darn it, that's what all of us are doing right now. And we got to keep pushing on, because life's not perfect, and we're going to make mistakes along the way, as you know, as we get more mature in our lives. We've been there, done that, but there's still many years of been there, done that ahead of us. So I just have to lead the way and show people there's hope out there. So
you know what, Joe? Just to cut it real quick, Maria, I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
just want to say this before I lose train of thought. But what he said was we're all just people. people, and it doesn't matter what it is, what kind of lights your fire. So in doing that, people always tell us, oh, your nonprofit must just be booming because suicide is so important, and people don't care, okay? And I say that in a nice way, and I'm going to explain it. It's not that they don't care because they're bad people or they're horrible people. It's just not something that has touched them. Before my father died of cancer, my grandmother had got cancer, and it still really didn't touch me. When my father got cancer, all of a sudden cancer meant something to me. I read about it. I was an activist for it because it was happening to me, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the ways that we can help people is to transfer that passion for whatever it is. Once it's on somebody's radar and you can make it their radar, it can change your life. I heard Pastor Dow speak. What is that group that Ann Severs is in, that you're in?
What was that?
The women's group that you guys are in, where you go
Chicks Connect. You're talking about
Chicks Connect, right? Mm-hmm. So she invited me to a Chicks Connect, and I invited one of my really good friends. Long story short, when I heard you speak about sex trafficking, and I'm not lying to you right now, every single time I go into a public bathroom, I make sure to notice every single woman that's in that bathroom, especially the airport. What you said touched me so much, and it was never on my radar before. But it's only because you were so passionate about it. I'm telling you, I'm looking at songs. I'm in there, like in the convention center. When we have like our little shows, they give us a free booth, and we go in. Like I'm looking in their faces. Like, you okay, girl?
Right.
You all right? Because you said they let them go in the bathrooms by themselves, obviously because they have to, but that's the time that you can check and you can make a phone call for her.
Yes.
You can get her out of the situation that she's in. So just the sheer fact that you were passionate about it made it on my radar. And that's a little piece of you that you left with me that I continue to do. But I'm not out sex trafficking or anything like that. But something, you touched me. And I was thinking about Brandon and saying how overwhelming it was. And I pray that this stays with you, and that you make the necessary steps, because you can have a great quality of life after this. This is by far the best thing I've ever done with my life. And I got some stories. I was a cop in the Air Force, okay? I guarded nukes. I got some stories to end all stories. And this is by far the best thing I've ever done with my life. And if you had told me I would have been doing this 10 years ago, I would have laughed you out of my home. So I don't want to scare you or think we all have PTSD or we're all. That's not true. Or you're going to wind up homeless, Brandon. You can take this information, avoid it, and help other people do the same thing, and you can have a wonderful, wonderful life. I would not trade being in the military for anything. It made me who I am today. The good, the bad, the ugly, the tears, the pain. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So I don't want you to get scared and be like, oh, what did I do with my life? You got 2 years. You can make a career of it. You never know. Just take this information, and like you said, it's overwhelming, and that means you get it. Like, you get it. So give it to somebody else.
Well done. Here. I love what you said, Kelly.
Yes, you guys are all my hero. I won't be here in the United States, and all the other international people like me, international. We won't be here in the United States without you guys. You guys actually our heroes. And I really salute you and thank you all for you guys' service. Since we are actually talking about the Memorial Day, I think we got cut off when I asked you guys regarding what do you remember when Memorial Day comes once a year. So I just want to actually kind of piggyback at that because we lost everything earlier. So I'm going to go back with you, Kelly and Pete.
Okay, that freedom isn't free.
Yes.
Somebody pays a price, even if it's not with their life. When they come back and the things that affected them affect their family, their children, their marriages dissipate. Numerous things happen. Freedom is not free. Trust me, we pay the price every single day. So even though it's Memorial Day and it's for fallen brothers and sisters, they've fallen in other areas too. So it's a day to be remembered, and also to remember the sacrifices that were made as well. It's a price to pay.
Yep. How about you, Brandon?
Just remembering my dad. You know, he passed away through cancer, so it's like a remembrance of like how much of a sacrifice. So now that I'm in the military, I know the sacrifice it was from like just him leaving the house and not knowing if he was gonna come back or if he was gonna come back. He didn't even show that he was worried. He just hid it from us. So just remembering him basically.
Well, your dad must be so proud looking down at you right now. Joe?
Well, I'd rather have Vanessa speak first. She has a really good story.
All right, Vanessa.
I don't know what story that is. But I agree that freedom isn't free, and that my father too served in the military before me, and he kind of paved the way, although he didn't die. We have to remember that Memorial Day is about those who sacrificed the ultimate sacrifice, and that was their lives. If it hadn't been for them, we wouldn't be here on this platform now talking to and supporting each other. And I think that's what we do best. Carry on what they paved the way for us to do. That makes us stronger to face anything, including COVID-19. So if it hadn't been for those who gave the ultimate sacrifice of their lives, wouldn't be able to battle what we're battling right here, right now. I don't think anybody joins the military thinking, oh, I may die. No, I didn't, but that's a fact of life. You may die tomorrow. And like I said before, there is a war going on, and none of us think that, oh, we could die perhaps by suicide, PTSD, while we're serving, friendly fire. That still happens, so we need to stay cognizant, we need to stay aware, and take care of each other. That's how I feel about Memorial Day.
Yeah, you know, that's a good point. We're on a Zoom platform, a messenger call, Facebook platform. We have Skype, we have GoToMeeting, we have so many ways to connect with people. We all have excuses why we don't drive 3 hours to visit a buddy, or let alone travel across the country to visit our friends and family. We have excuses. We're busy people. And quite frankly, it costs money to leave town. Well, we spend money on stupid stuff all the time anyways, you know, salute. But the point is, we can connect with our battle buddies today. I started my career in the Philippines. You started your career in Greece. We still have those friends from back then. We communicate with not everyone all the time, but how many of us are connecting back home with our family? How many of us are connecting with our siblings or cousins? Family reunions like this. And we just talked about suicides and people potentially, we don't know if we don't ask the question.
Right.
Bro, everything okay? How can I help you? And you know how we can help most people? It's right here.
Yep. Very true.
Tamia?
Listening. Listening. That is, I'm a Toastmaster. We're Toastmasters. And one of the first things you learn about communicating is listening. Nothing else matters. No one cares what you have to say. They just want to know you're listening. And it's huge. And it makes a difference in people's lives. So that's what Memorial Day means to me. It gives us an opportunity to connect, to communicate.
Joe.
What do you think of answer of that?
Yeah. Tamia?
Yeah, so I like the fact that we're talking about our battle buddies. And I also like the mention that was made that said that not everybody dies out there in the field. You know, they come home, and then they come home and something else may take their life. But when we were out there walking and putting the flags down on the grave sites out at the cemetery, I was looking at those heads, the gravestones, you know, and it would say, you know, John Smith, U.S. Navy. It would say when he was born, And then sometimes it said that he died in 2012. You know, like, so he was born in 19 something, like way back when, and he died in 2012. And it would say Korea, you know, World War II, you know, whatever, right? And I think we forget that. And who had said it? Vanessa. You know, the battle is still going on. The battle is still going on, even though there's so many people who, because this was my point earlier, Maria, was that people see this as the 3-day weekend to go out and party and do whatever, and they don't remember the real reason for this day and the memorial of this day. This morning I posted a Facebook Live, or I jumped into a live stream of the wreath laying at the Arlington Cemetery, okay? Where the president comes and they post the wreath, and there's a whole pomp and circumstance. You guys are all familiar with it, right? So we as military veterans, that's a big deal. You know, it is something that we will stop and sit still and watch, right? Because we realize the purpose for this Memorial Day.
Yep.
Do you know how many people on my Facebook page jumped off? Because they saw it was a memorial service, and they weren't in the least bit interested in what was going on in Washington, D.C. That broke my heart. You know what I mean? That broke my heart.
Yep. Well,
because if we can't take 15 minutes from our Memorial Day weekend to watch a wreath being laid and to listen to the bugle and to just remember who made this country the way it is right now. So, yeah, when you talk to me about Memorial Day, I'm pretty passionate about it, because it breaks my heart that people do not, even to this day, with us dealing with coronavirus, with me just last weekend as part of my UNLV Veteran Alumni Club position, going over to right by UMC, where our National Guard members here in Nevada are dressed up in PPE and giving out COVID testing, because that's why they were activated. Everybody thought they were activated so they could put out their guns and make it a police state. But instead, they are out there sweating, because you guys know it's getting ready to be over 100 degrees. And they are in full PPE gear, sticking swabs up people's noses in the face of this virus, in the midst of the war, right? But people couldn't take 15 minutes to watch the wreath laying ceremony.
Yep. Well, you know, like what you guys are mentioning earlier, Memorial Day is to remember the fallen soldiers, and also those people who put in their life together. You know what? I want to add this one. It's not only the people who are in service. It's not only the men and women in uniform, but also their families who are involved with our soldiers, because they also sacrifice their life. They sacrifice. So I would like to actually dedicate this also to all the wives, kids, and families of our soldiers out there. Before we end, I know that you guys been talking about what the outcome after being in service, like PTSD or any mental disease, or you know, any suffering that our soldiers is going through right now. I know a lot of people who actually just wanna do their own thing and don't wanna go out there. I just wanna let all my viewers know that our soldiers doesn't need all the money. They don't really need the money. All they need most is your attention. They need most your attention to talk to them. So
she talked about money like we was making bank or something.
well, you know, I heard a lot of veterans was telling me we don't want to be, you know, they need that, but then they all more into men, you know, what do you call that, attention, like they need somebody to talk to. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Peer support.
No, we were talking about that prior to this call, actually. I think people think if they're not in a position to help in the most obvious way, which is money, then they don't do anything. And people need to realize, on just a basic human level, You can do so much for people. I don't know why. It's been me and Peter forever, but I cook like I have 56 kids in my house. So I always call people and I give food away. And we have an older veteran, and for him, I specifically make things for him. And he called us like 3 times. It made like 3 different meals for him. And so he just kept calling. He was like, oh my God, this is so good. This is so good. And if I had just been like, well, I can't give them any money and I can't do this and I just won't do anything. If you can babysit active duty members' kids, give them a night out on the town, if you can cook really well, if you can listen, like Joe said, if you can listen, like whatever your talent is, no matter how small, if you lend that to a veteran or an active duty, like you are doing so much. I wish that I had somebody to talk to. The whole time I was suffering, I thought it was just me. And if I had known that there was other people going through what I went through, I could have avoided a lot of heartache, but I thought I was alone in it, and I didn't know. So every time I talk to people, I try to be as transparent as possible. But whatever that gift is, that thing that you do well, if you walk dogs well, walk a veteran's dog. You think it, I mean, we laugh, but my husband's knees burn so bad sometimes that he can't even let them touch. He has to have like this little cushion in between there. And if somebody came and walked his dog for him, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know if they're having a bad day that day, back pain, whatever you do well, do it. Do it for a veteran. I swear you will change their lives. Sometimes even just the gesture of them thinking that, oh wow, she thought about me. He thought about me. Will change that.
Well,
I know, Vanessa, you know that's true being a nurse.
Yeah.
Bedside manner, like just caring about people. Sometimes people don't even get that from their families. And when you truly care for them, it really touches their heart. And that permeates, like they give that back.
Kelly, I heard you actually cook and give food. I need somebody to adopt me since Vanessa and Joe doesn't want to adopt me. So I think, yeah, I need a closer person to adopt me here in Las Vegas, not in California.
I'll text you.
I was trying to see how I could come by the house since she cooking. I'm like, hey.
For everybody, I'm telling you, I make all kinds of. I'm vegan, but
I love,
I
vegetables.
make it good. It's delicious. I'm telling you. You can look too.
Anyways,
Wait, I'm looking at Brandon's face there. Poor Brandon, he's so far away from us.
Yeah.
I know you got good food in Hawaii, though, Brandon. If you like fruits, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And
pineapple.
anyways, guys.
Brandon for being here, and I hope that he continues to share his story. We all have something to share with somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, last thoughts.
Make sure you really taking the island there too. I was stationed at Schofield, so I absolutely love.
Anyways, guys. Hey, let's get back to the show. Give final thoughts for those people who are suffering and for those people that actually remembering their loved ones. So the final thoughts before we go.
Stay connected.
Yeah. If you're suffering, remember, like Vanessa said, you're not alone.
Right.
You are not alone. And everybody has lost someone, so there's a connection there, be it not be for, in the military. Just know that you're not by yourself. And the fastest way to healing is to open your mouth.
Yes.
Unmute yourself.
Yeah, that's really good. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you know what? There's people who want to hear your story. You have
Absolutely.
to tell.
Absolutely.
And a lot of what I've done is done compilations of people telling their stories. And I tell you what, our veterans love to tell a story, so let them share the stories of their experiences and listen to the loved ones too. I really liked what you guys said about the fact that you're working with the Gold Star moms and things such as that, because they're survivors. They're surviving daughters and sons and all of that. Family members that were service members, and they're still hurting too. So they want to be able to talk and tell their story. So be available to just listen, like Joe was saying.
Brandon, what's your final? Brandon?
I have a Korean War veteran at the American Legion. And we're both Pittsburgh Steelers fans, so we have a lot in common and things like that. But he can't drive anymore, so every now and then I'll just pick him up, take him to the lounge for a couple hours. And sure, I have to hear the same story sometimes over and over. But what a great soul. And this guy became an orphan like at 6, 7 years old, was farmers adopted him at 8, put him in the fields. He ran away from home at 16 and joined the military. And just the story, he could tell it to me 100 more times. That's a guy that makes you appreciate what you have.
Right.
Grateful, right.
We're on the board out here. We have an Airforce veteran who builds tiny houses for homeless female veterans.
Oh, nice.
Sure, we don't have a lot of money to put into it, but we can swing a hammer. We can and we do those things whenever we can. We have another friend makes masks for people, healthcare professionals. So there's always a way to serve.
Right.
And that gets people to open up. Hand them a mask and just listen to their story. It doesn't. You don't have to hand out 100 masks a day. Hand out 5. If you're getting someone to open up and let them know they're important, that they matter, it's kind of a big deal. So I think that's it. Just let people know we have a purpose and you're a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Brandon, before I let you guys all go.
You're not alone. So everybody has a friend they could go to. Don't be like feeling like how I heard someone say that they felt like they were just alone. They're the only person feeling that pain. Everybody goes through it. So just be available to like listen and just hear somebody's story. Just ask if they're doing okay. Don't be worried about it now. So it's always good just to like do the reaching for them.
Thank you so much, guys. Yes, you guys are not alone. We are here. Joe, Vanessa, Kelly and Pete, and Tamia and Brandon. We are here to hear your stories. So please reach out to us. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for gracing our show.
Thank you, guys. Yes. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Brandon, you'll go to the car. You take it all in and give it back out. Yes.
Thank you. I'll see you guys and talk to you guys all later.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day. There you go, guys. Those are our U.S. vets and active Marine Corps Brandon Franco from California, stationed in Hawaii right now. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Memorial Day special. Like what they all said, you are not alone. Please reach out to all of them and including us. Thank you, and you guys have a great Memorial Day. Be safe out there. Don't drink too much. Have a great time.